All right, did not participate was Golston, lower back, foot. Hatcher, knee. Jackson, fibulas. Merriweather, toe. And Minifield, concussion. Limited were Compton with his neck. Biggers with his concussion. Keenan Robinson with his knee. Chris Baker with his SC joint. Ryan Clark with his neck stinger. Full was Kerrigan wrist. And Silas Red. No, Williams was okay. I said, I don't know who I said. Yeah, he was full, yep.
Okay. Is not Trent, Colt McCoy said this morning he felt like he was kind of settling into the quarterback role. Starting NFL quarterback is kind of a different level there. Do you see him kind of starting to take ownership of that role and settling in and taking a little more command? Yeah, with more reps comes more confidence, and he's obviously gaining a head of steam right now, and that's important for the quarterback position. You'd like to have stability there, obviously, and he has had limited reps all through camp, and he had the majority of the reps just before the Dallas game. It was really the only time he got full load of reps, now last week and then this week, of course. So you can see he's taking ownership of the position, and that's what he's got to do to be successful. He's doing a good job.
One thing he also mentioned was that he feels like now he kind of has the currency to stand up and make his voice heard, to be a vocal leader in the locker room, on the sidelines, in the huddle. Is that something you've noticed, and how important is that for a starting quarterback? Well,
I think first you have to back it up with your play, before you start talking. And I think people respect the way he's been playing and competing. And, with positive play comes positive results and then more leadership. And leadership is something that's earned. It's not something given. So he's still got to earn his role, and I think he will when it's all said and done.
When you have a unit that has a bad game like the secondary had on Sunday, do you have a particular way you like to approach practices that week? Do you try to change things? Do you try to do something above and beyond?
Try to go back to basics, and you try to just, you do a good job of correcting mistakes. You just got to continue to correct it and trying to figure out why there was confusion and letting them be participants in a meeting instead of doing all the talking. You got to find out why, what was the confusion here, and find out what's going through their mind and pick their brain a little bit. But I think just a matter of continuing doing what we're doing, but maybe taking a step back and simplifying some things for them, and trying to let them play fast, get the calls out sooner to them so they can communicate, and then when it's time to play fast and do the right thing. But there's nothing really different you can do. You just got to keep coaching them up and hoping they don't make the same mistakes, which they have. Yeah, the issue was the schemes that we messed up were the simplest ones we got. That's the problem. It's not like we were running around playing, buzzing and you take that guy. If he goes here, I'll take that guy. There wasn't a lot of combo in and out coverages and all that. It was simple type coverages that we messed up. So that's the part that's disturbing. But like I said, they're all pretty young back there other than Ryan Clark, who's ancient. But we just got to keep coaching them, man, and not lose faith. Just can't lose faith in them, man. I really think we have some talent back there. We just got to get it out of them the best way we can.
You mentioned Pierre a little bit on Monday. What kinds of things can you do to get him more involved in the offense?
Well, he's trying. We gave him, I think, 9 targets and only 3 of them were complete. And we overthrew him a couple times. We underthrew him once. So it's not for a lack of trying. It's just a matter of taking advantage of opportunities. The only thing I can say. And he's going to continue to compete and play hard. And you just can't worry about the stat numbers. You just have to go out and play your position and do your job, and when the ball comes, take advantage of them, and hopefully the ball's thrown accurately to you. A couple times they weren't. A couple times he was covered pretty good by Vontae. But we just got to keep grinding with our offense and stick with our plan and not forcing the ball to anybody. If the coverage dictates it, he'll get the ball.
Coach, Colt's a guy who obviously began his career in Cleveland, got run out of there. He's here now, sort of resurrected himself. You've talked about how tough it is to be successful at quarterback in the NFL. Can you just speak to that in this case, how you see a guy who has sort of battled his way through it and how tenuous success can be when it comes to quarterbacking in the NFL?
Yeah, I've talked about the mental toughness. Number one, you got to have the talent, obviously, but you got to be mentally tough because you're going to have some rough patches. You're going to have some ups and downs. You have games where you have a 20 passer rating or whatever it is, where you get booed and you get bad articles written about you and you get cut possibly. You got to be able to withstand all that and continue to believe in your self. Number one, have confidence in what you're doing, and then continue to work on your craft like Colt has done. He has not given up. He has continued to work. He went to San Francisco last year and battled for a backup spot, and then this year he came here and just accepted the fact that he was number 3, but worked himself into a spot where if he was given an opportunity, he was ready to go. And that's what we try to preach to all our guys is once you get the opportunity, you got to make something of it. So that's what he's done. He's a resilient guy, works hard, and now it's his opportunity to take this job, and what he does with it is up to him.
Jay, I don't know if I dare ask about positive questions, but I wonder if you could talk about your punter, because he's a guy you signed real late in camp, and he right now, with 3/4 of the way through the season, he's leading the league.
Am I allowed to talk positive on this?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Tress has been outstanding. He's obviously was a great find for us, and he's been everything more, I mean, that we expected. He's changed field position. He's great as far as backing people up and getting the ball down inside the opponent's 10-yard line, but when we're backed up, he gives great hang time, gives our punt team a chance to cover. Been an outstanding guy for us, and he's got to be got to have consideration for some Pro Bowl votes if you're looking at his stats and his numbers and what he's done for this team.
And a guy who's not as surprising but has produced in the wake of the season is Ryan Kerrigan. He actually has more sacks per game for the Redskins in his career than anybody except Dexter Manley, and he's really just rolling on.
Yeah, we just need Ryan to continue to keep developing, and then he needs to just take a leadership role up to another notch. You know, he's a quiet kid. He does everything you ask him to do. He plays hard. You know, he just got to continue to keep working. He's got a chance to be one of those guys you talk about, an outside linebacker in a 3-4 defense. He's solid at the point in the running game, and then he's just got to continue working on his pass rush, which he's been very productive. But you know, you can't say enough about what he's done for us so far. You know, we just with Arakpo going down, and we just got to have a little bit more from him. He needs to almost be Superman for us, but he's been close to it. We love the way he plays and the effort that he brings.
Jay, you talk on Monday about accountability, that's your biggest disappointment so far, is just the accountability of everybody this season. At what point do you feel like you need to maybe punish players for their lack of effort if they do this again?
I don't think it's effort, really. I think effort-wise, I think our guys are still playing at a pretty high level. They do compete as far as effort's concerned. Running of the football on defense, just some of the mental lapses that we've had have been frustrating for everybody. You know, the easy plays that we're giving up that we shouldn't be giving up. Some of the mentals that we have. And that, you know, that goes, you know, coaching and players alike. We both got to stand up and take responsibility for that. But, you know, when the same players happen over and over, then you have to think about changing the players out or changing the scheme, one or the other. The problem is, you know, there's not a lot of players available at this time of year where you can just, okay, let's go bring him in and play. You know, you just have to continue to coach these guys up and hope to goodness that it clicks for them someday where they can play fast and be the player that we think they can be. Because I think we have a lot of talent on this roster still. We just got to continue to coach them up and try to get the most out of it. So by the end of the year, we have a good feeling of what we have in store for next year and the year after.
And just following up to that, do you have any concerns with the veteran guys or maybe the higher paid guys not giving that effort these last 4 games with concern of getting injured?
No. This is I don't have that concern whatsoever. If I had that concern, I wouldn't be here. I think these guys are playing very fast and playing physical, and they all want to win. They care. They care about this team. They care about this city. They know they've not put their best foot forward, and we got 4 games left, you know, and 3 of them are at home. So we're excited to go out there and compete and hopefully show that the first 12 games are not what the Redskins are about. Hopefully finish this thing on a high note with some great energy and a great competitive spirit and give the fans something to cheer about finally.
If Philip Thomas if Brandon Merriweather isn't able to go, would Philip Thomas get the start, and do you think he's ready for it?
Yeah, he probably would right now. You know, we don't know where Merriweather's at right now. He's a little sore still, but Philip's got to step up and play. And, you know, all these guys do, some of these young guys, they got to step up and play and know what to do, number one. Philip's got good ball skills, and he's a good tackler. Just sometimes he just gets a little, you know, out of whack sometimes. So we just got to make sure he knows exactly what to do and how to do it. But he should be more than ready. You know, he's been here for a couple years now, so he should be ready to roll. So we expect good things from Philip.
Jay, you sometimes hear baseball players say that knowing they're in the lineup every day is very different than coming to the field and checking the lineup. For Colt, what kind of difference can it make knowing that he has the opportunity to finish out the season in these games, and how does that change maybe his mental state and his confidence?
Well, it shouldn't change his approach to the game. I think it should, rev him up obviously a little bit, but his approach, Colt's a pro, and his approach has not changed since he was number 3 quarterback to number 1. He's put in a time. He's one of those guys that, he wasn't even active the first couple of weeks, and he was still one of the last ones to leave the building as far as watching tape and coming up with ideas and things of that nature. So I've been impressed with Colt all the way through, and I'm happy he's got this opportunity. He just got to continue to do what he's supposed to do and not put too much on him, not put too much pressure on himself. Relax, play the position like he can, and let the game come to him, and he'll be fine. He just got to relax and do it. But from a preparation standpoint, he's always been that type of guy as far as he's going to do everything he can to get himself better.
From a pure coaching perspective, how hard is it to find and identify guys that have good football instincts and football IQ from just a pure coaching?
That's the hardest thing. That's why, in the draft you have, there's a lot of misses from time to time, in first, second, third rounders, because you can't judge that until you actually get them in your building. You can only see what they do on tape and it's a 40-yard dash. But football IQ and the Wonderlic test are two different things. I've seen guys with great Wonderlic scores that have the dumbest football IQ I've ever seen, and vice versa. So it's just a matter, you just got to get them in your building and work with them and find out their strengths and weaknesses and really cater to their weaknesses and get them stronger and strengthen their strengths and move forward. But there's no exact process as far as evaluating that if you can figure that one out, you'll make a lot of money.
Jay, do you believe there's an optimum age for an NFL quarterback? And, if so, what would that be? And in Colt's case, how much of his career potentially is ahead of him?
Oh, he's got a ton of his career ahead of him. I think there's really not an optimum age. Obviously, you'd like to, I think quarterbacks get better with age, better with time, more time they see, because the speed of the game is so different from college to the NFL. You really can't compare. There's been a couple of very successful quarterbacks at a young age, but very few and far between. You don't get to be a dominant quarterback till you're, mid-20s, 26, 27, 28, and then you can keep that going until in the mid-30s and late 30s. I've seen some guys do it. So, but this position takes time to see the concepts, to see the game, get used to the players around you, snap count. I mean, there's so many things, so many variables that go into playing a position of quarterback that you can only get better with time, and it does take a lot of time to do that.
Colt wasn't a highly coveted free agent this year. What was it you guys saw in him on the tape that led you to think, yeah, this is the guy we need to bring in, and maybe this guy's got potential?
Well, I've seen him at Texas. Obviously, he's one of the winningest quarterbacks in college football history, and I remember him playing at Cleveland and had some rough patches there. But he's always a tough, competitive quarterback. And anytime you get that type of gritty, tough, competitive quarterback, and you want him in your building. We needed a 3, and we also liked his accuracy, and he had some good movement skills also. So, plus he was in the West Coast system, so he should have been familiar with our concepts and what we were trying to do offensively. It was a no-brainer. He's a great kid. He's smart. He's tough, and he throws an accurate ball. Those are 4 very key elements to being a good quarterback. Now, he hadn't had the success, obviously, which is a negative, but we thought we'd take a chance on him and give him a shot.
Jay, has this job, in terms of trying to turn this franchise around, build the culture you want, is it tougher than maybe you envisioned, and is it maybe a longer road than you imagined?
Well, training camp, we had high hopes, man. We really did. We thought we had some pieces in place, and then we just hit the injury bug. A lot of the free agents that we signed counted on, you talk Sharpton and Akeem Jordan, they're out. Tracy Porter never practiced, and then we lost D. Hall and Arakpo, and our depth was really tested early, and that was something we didn't have great depth to start with anyway. And then we lost a lot of key players at key positions, especially on defense, and that hurt us a little bit. But we had high hopes going in. But now where we are, now we're just trying to finish out strong to give us something positive to build on, really get to know what these players are made of, not only from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, what they're made of as far as how they like football, do they like to compete, and what type of guys you want to move forward with. So this is a great chance for us to really see what type of players we have, what type of men we have as far as their competitive nature. And I think I've been impressed so far just out of practice today. The guys are moving around pretty good. There's not any bickering or griping right now so far, so I'm impressed with that. It's just a matter of finishing the season and seeing what we have for the future.
I think you may have addressed this on Monday, but just to follow up with what Colt was talking about earlier today about these third downs, I think it's like almost half of the third downs you guys have had this year have been 3rd and 7 or longer. How frustrating is it as a play caller? How frustrating is it to just always be facing these almost impossible third down plays?
Yeah, it's hard, but we have to do a better job of converting. There's no reason we should be this bad on third down, you know. And it's a little bit. Everybody has their hand in it. Sometimes the play calls, I give us no chance. Maybe play field position and get a punt. I don't want to take a sack or a loss, but maybe I'll call a screen or a draw or something like that. And other times, we just got to make some plays. Quarterback's got to step up, move around, and find some open receivers. And receivers got to do a good job of finding holes in zones. But it's a grind of it down. But there's no reason we should be as bad as we are. But you're right. The third down and longs, we got to stay. You got to find a way to stay out of those. You know, you want to be a running team. You want to take the pressure off the quarterback. But if you lose 2 yards on first down, you got 2nd and 12. Okay, you pop a draw here. Now it's 3rd down and 8. Oh God, you know, or you know so. We've had some tough situations, but still we got to find a way to convert on offense, and then conversely on defense, for whatever reason, 3rd down and 10, we're not very good. We're much better 3rd and 2 to 4 than we are 3rd and 9 plus, I believe. I could be wrong. So it's something that we just got to continue to work and concentrate on. But I have no reason why we're so bad on 3rd and 10 plus. I think it's 2 for 50. You know, I think Andrew Luck completed 4 3rd and 10s in the game last week. So we just got to keep grinding and keep working the concepts. And protection's harder. Route concepts are harder. They're deeper. This is a great challenge. We just haven't been up to it this year.
Just from your experience in the league, how much do you think a change of an environment can help a quarterback? You know, we're seeing Michael Vick right now. I'm sorry, Mark Sanchez right now, going from the Jets, playing with the Eagles, now playing well. Mm-hmm. Now we're seeing Colt.
Yeah, it helps. It depends on the environment, you know. If it suits the quarterback. I've seen other quarterbacks go somewhere and it doesn't help at all. But change of environment, change of system could help a quarterback immensely. And you've seen that happen to a number of guys throughout the history of the NFL. Just a matter of, A, the player, is he willing to adjust and adapt to a new environment and continue to work, and B, does the system fit the quarterback? So all that takes into account and how good the team around him is, you know. So